The acquisition of travel tags originated at Carlson Letter Service. A fellow college student and friend of Glen's that had worked for Mr. Carlson now needed some help with a unique business startup.
Travel tags was a really an interesting acquisition. I worked for Mr. Carlson while I was a student, and Duncan McConnell was a student there also. So we had worked for Bill, and Duncan didn't work there very long, and I stayed on, but he went on. Duncan was a very unusual friend of mine. He was very creative. And after he graduated and went out in life, he had done a couple of startups, and they all seemed to have gone the same way. He would start up with a good idea, but it would then get into the management of it. It would turn unprofitable, and he'd lose all of his money. When he came and saw me, he says, I've started a new business with plastics. I'm cutting out travel tags, and that was a little tag that you would put on your suitcase. And I'm selling those to the airlines. I'm selling them to various places. And right now I've got it as a profitable business.
So there was a new law passed that every traveler had to have a luggage tag on their luggage, okay? And Duncan had a way to make these luggage tags, or he had a way to personalize them and make these luggage tags, and he wanted to sell them. So the airline launched these new ticket jackets. He had this free ad on the back, saved them a lot of money on these ticket jackets from what they were currently paying, and then that's what his business. And he started in his garage, and he had his wife working there making luggage tags. That's the story that I heard.
So he says, would you be interested in buying it from me? Because I got to sell it right now, because I have a history of losing all my money. And I have a family I'm trying to support, and I've been told by my wife that we should get some money into the bank.
Travel tags had this really unique business that was different than anything Taylor had done before, doing plastic cards. It was a market that was really rapidly developing. The ability to print on plastics with high quality graphics was not something that was really known at the time we did that acquisition. It's common now, lots of people doing it, but at the time it was really kind of a new venture. I mean, it was still printing, but it was a totally different kind of printing.
So it was a very honest, upfront thing, and I said, well, okay, we'll do that. I'll buy the company from you, but I want you to stay around because you have unique, unusual ideas, and we could use some more of your ideas in the future.
If you knew Duncan, okay, his office was a mess. He had stacks everywhere. You could not, if you went into his office, you couldn't see him across his desk. I'll never forget when they moved his office one time, they had to shrink wrap it because he didn't want anybody to move anything, and they moved the whole desk with all the items in place. Very tall guy. He wore clogs, wood clogs, like he loved wood clogs, and he walked around in those wood clogs and clanked around here.
They had a really driven, interesting, exciting owner who was kind of a mad scientist. We had a team. Bill Cahill was the assignee from Taylor Corporation that was going to come in and be the general manager and evolve into the president. And kind of much like Tatex and other places where he made acquisitions with long-standing employees, Bill was somebody I didn't know prior to the acquisition. I probably met him on a phone call a couple times, and got to find him to be one of the most hardworking, dedicated, smart people I've ever worked with.
Duncan was the idea guy and knew what needed to get done. Bill was the operations guy and the finance guy and knew how to manage the money and made sure that how could we model it to make money, and then he needed a good execution. So we had a good team to be able to deliver that. That's how I think he fed in. And what ended up happening is after working together for a couple of years, we kind of knew each other's strengths, and like he would say, we're going to do this. And then I just knew that that's what the goal was. And and I would focus on getting there. And but he would allow you to do that, and I think they had a great relationship with Brad Schreier and Glenn at the time, and they'd manage up and tell them what was going on, but we'd be left alone to get it done. And then after you got a couple of wins, they would trust that we would get it done, and we can continue to do that.
We ran into just some new products that we could do on plastics, and we just kept growing. We grew the company. It was always a great company. But then Duncan he wanted to do his own company again. He went right back to his own company. I suggested to him not to do that one, go in partnership with us because we have skill sets that he doesn't have. And but he went ahead and I would just say, I think didn't work out very well for him. Duncan was a dear friend and really helped our company, and I just couldn't keep up with him till the end, all the ups and downs.